Hello.
Hey, Fred.
Hey there.
How's it going?
Good, thank you. Good.
All right. So I'm
Are we
sorry.
live?
We are recording and then we will stream it, just like we've done in the past.
Okay, good. In that case, let me start recording. uh, yeah, good. Shall I go? Are you introducing or how do you want to do it?
Just run it.
Okay.
All right. So, Fred, today you're going to talk about value propositions. Is that right?
Yeah, value propositions.
All right. So over to you.
Thank you very much. And welcome to this live stream of the At Pace Sales Academy. Objective of the Sales Academy is not just to train salespeople, but really to educate as many young professionals as we possibly can that sales skills are life skills. That's a message that I'm passionate about, Ravi's passionate about, and we want to get that out there. So this is why we're doing these trainings, just to help people understand different parts of professional selling and why it makes a difference. Before I go on though, let me just take a moment to talk about learning. I do this at the beginning of every session because I don't know if everybody's watching all of them, and I think it's a really important message for people to take away. When we talk about learning, there is a concept of 70, 20, 10. And what this is all about is that I can only really give you about 10% of your overall learning in this session. Where the magic really starts to happen is in real life. So my job is to make sure the things we talk about are applicable and that you can use them straight away. We've got to take those ideas and use them. That's where you're going to get the benefit. The 20% is all about having a good role model, about understanding what good looks like, and if you can, getting great feedback from people. But really, it's all about the application of new ideas. Implementation is always better than information. So be aware of the aha moments that you're having while we're going through this session. An aha moment is when you're saying, aha, that is something that makes sense to me and that I can use. It don't necessarily have to be something that's huge. It's not going to be massively life-changing. If it is, brilliant. But it could be something that's very small. We often talk about doing 100 things 1% better being as good as looking for one big change. Because one of the things that has to happen when we're learning is that you are going to, more often than not, step out of your comfort zone. Outside of comfort zone is stretch zone or learning zone. And so when we make the commitment to step out of it and to do things that are going to make us feel uncomfortable, that's when we start to learn. But the great thing is that the comfort zone then starts to expand. Stuff that you were uncomfortable with starts to become normal and it starts to make more sense. So that is what I want you to consider while we're going through the rest of these sessions. We're going to talk about the sessions in general and how we're structuring these. We are using the concept of U, C, and L. U, C, and L. As these are the kind of foundations of professional selling. This is a model that my colleague, my friend Claire O'Shea introduced me to. And it's brilliant in that the simplicity actually goes quite deep. What's important when we're selling is that we demonstrate understanding. we've got to understand the other party. What's important in their world? What's important in their life? What are they trying to do? How are they trying to do it? Where could they do things better? We've got to understand this, and they've got to understand that we understand. They've got to know that we get them. That's an important part of professional sales. And so we'll cover some parts of that in the live streams. The other thing that we need to do is to show that we have the capability to deal with those issues, to help them in what they're trying to achieve, to deliver the outcomes that they're looking for. And another way of describing this is that we have to demonstrate that we have the credibility to do that. We've got to be credible in that we're the kind of person that they would want to deal with. Final element, and the one that sometimes salespeople concentrate almost too much on because they think it's the only important thing, is the concept of liking. Of course, I want to do business with people that I like, but it's not the only thing. They've got to understand me, and I've got to think that they actually have the ability to be able to do something about that. But all things being equal, of course, I'm going to go with somebody that I've got a better relationship with. So these are what the sessions are going through. Last time, we spoke about change drivers. So understanding change drivers, the things that are happening in somebody's market, happening in somebody's world, are ways in which we can really demonstrate our understanding. We can build our understanding. To do that, we talked about the respect model. And these are just areas in which, if we use these to start our thinking, we might uncover something that's going to be important to somebody, and we can have good discussion about. Maybe there are new regulations, new compliance, new laws, things that people are talking to are going to have to deal with. Maybe the economy and economic factors are changing, exchange rates, interest rates, inflation, things which are having an economic impact on them and their world, their business. We talked about social elements, so latest trends, populations, and we talked about political elements, the politics of the country, the things that are happening in the world. We know that the environment, whether we're talking about the weather or we're talking about people's attitudes towards environment, is important. And the world is becoming more competitive. Different ways of doing things. New technology can be something which also drives competitive forces. So have a look at that live stream if those things are things that you think, well, actually, I'd like more detail on how those might impact on me and my customers' world. This session, though, I want to talk about the value proposition. And I'm going to come at this from two angles. I'm going to talk about your own personal value proposition, what I'm going to call the social pitch. And then I'm going to talk about the more traditional company or corporate value prop and how you put that together. So, first up, the social pitch. How often do you get asked to introduce yourself? And when you're asked to do it, you're not really sure what to say. You stumble over the words a little bit. You're worried about what you're going to say without sounding too stupid. And it comes out as really unimpressive. Just when you're trying to really make sure that you're establishing great credibility, showing your capability, wanting to create a brilliant first impression, it's when your preparation lets you down. I'm going to give you a formula to be able to do this. But first, I'm going to demonstrate it. If I'm asked to introduce myself at an event, when I'm speaking, anytime I need to get the information about who I am and what I do across, I will tend to work towards something like this. Hi, my name's Fred Copestake, founder of Brindis, a sales training consultancy. Over the last 22 years, I've been around the world 14 times, worked in 36 countries, and trained over 10,000 salespeople. It's because of this I was able to understand the challenges that modern salespeople have. And as a result, I wrote my first book, Selling Through Partnering Skills. I use that and the frameworks within it to help B2B professional salespeople develop a more modern, collaborative approach. Ultimately, I believe that if we share more, we learn more and do things differently, we're going to be better for it. And as far as the sales profession goes, it's all about having good people doing good things in a good way. That's my introduction. About 30 seconds, I think. I can take it down, I can increase it, but it's all about the structure that I'm using. So I want to introduce you to that structure and then urge you to think about how can you use this to introduce yourself, particularly if you're early stage career, when many people are going to be fumbling over these words. You can use this to stand out, to stand above. Let's go through what I did. So, first thing is, I gave you my name. It kind of makes sense to do that. But I did it in quite a deliberate way. I slowed it down. I'm used to my name. I know my name. I hear my name all the time. It's a kind of a weird name, even in English. So if I say it too fast, people are going to miss it. It gets confused with chopstick, cupcake, soapflake, cheapskate, all kind of weird things. Hi, my name is Fred Copestake. I'm founder of Brindis, a sales training consultancy. Here, I didn't try to be clever. I didn't try to be big. I didn't want to confuse people. I described what I do in very similar terms to ones which people will understand. I use the same things that they'll be used to. I am founder of Brindis, a sales training consultancy. Founder, we know what they do. Brindis, okay, that's the name. Sales training, okay, we get that. Consultancy, we get that. Excellent, we know what Fred does now. How many times have people introduced you where they've tried to be very impressive with their title and what they do, and you think, I haven't got a clue what they're talking about. I don't know what they do. This is a bit embarrassing. I could now look a bit stupid here because maybe everyone else does. I don't know where to file them. I don't know what sort of stuff they do. So it's hard for me to make a reference and then compare and contrast. So it's a very deliberate way. I've found that some people really struggle with this because they want to sound so clever and so special early. But trust me, it doesn't work. Name, say. Then there is a chance to start to do the clever stuff. What did I say next? Over the last 22 years, I've been around the world 14 times. I've worked in 36 countries. I've trained over 10,000 salespeople. I've used this to understand the challenges of salespeople and to write my first book. Very deliberate stuff going on here. Sales trainer, yeah, but how many sales trainers have done that much work with that many people in that many places and have written, well, at least one book, because I said the first. I deliberately made that contrast and that jump to show how I'm different. That's the time to do it. That's where you can start to apply this. My name is, my job is. But what I do is, and you start to try to find the thing that's going to set you apart. That's the key. In some ways, almost the more sane, the more boring, the more mundane you say something here, the bigger contrast you're going to give when you start to talk about the thing. Now, I appreciate that might be quite difficult in the early stages of a career, but there will be something that sets you apart. Have you won a prize at university? You won a prize at school? Are you the first person from the family to have studied something? Are you the first in the company in this particular role? There will be ways that you can find something to deliberately set yourself apart. so that people now start thinking, okay, bid more to this person than I thought. Name, same, fame. And the next thing I do is talk about my game. What do? I use this, contents of the book, to work with sales professionals, B2B sales professionals, to help them develop a more modern collaborative approach using the frameworks that I've developed. That's the thing that I'll talk about now. That's my game. That's what I do. So people can understand how that stuff fits together. The game I play. It's what I get up to. Oh, right. Okay. So he's a sales trainer, pretty good at that, pretty famous, and is got a way of going about things that gives people structure. Yeah, that's me using the personal techniques so you guys can understand it. But think about, so how do you explain to them, what is your job? What do you do? The more that you can make this about what other people are trying to achieve, helping them to do stuff, the more interesting it will be. And the final element was where I talked about the bigger picture, the more purpose-driven stuff. Now, big people can get better by learning and sharing, by doing things differently. I believe that sales is all about having good people doing good things in a good way. That's the one I want to promote. So it gives my more kind of global vision. We can shorten it down, we can lengthen it up, but just think about using those elements to make your social pitch, your introduction, something that does set you apart. It sounds different enough for people to really sit up and notice and want to have a conversation with you. That's what we're trying to do with this. A nice little formula that I learned from a guy called Daniel Priestley. I'm sure he has a wonderful aim. He wants people to make a real dent in the universe. So I'm sure he'll be happy with me sharing this to you guys. It's going to make a difference to you and your careers. So that's the first structure, the first kind of value proposition. Not a personal value proposition, but I thought if we're going to talk about it, particularly this target audience, I wanted to give you a way to make those introductions more punchy, more effective. Set yourselves apart. Let me know how you get on with these. I'm always available. You can connect on LinkedIn, in the Academy if you decide to join this. Ask questions. I'm happy to look at this stuff and to help you form this. Introduce yourself to me. We'd love to see you. Good. So that is our social pitch. The next thing I want to move on to then is to think about the value proposition from a more corporate or a kind of a more salesy angle. Yeah. This is you selling yourself, so it's still sales for me, and everyone lives by selling something. Well, it's not my phrase. Robert Louis Stevenson said that 200-300 years ago. But what I'm talking about now is more about the kind of way you would explain to a potential customer what it is you do. So we talk about this as the value proposition. Sometimes people will talk about this being the elevator pitch, the hook. There's various language people use. I want to talk about the value proposition because I think titling it like that helps you think about it in the right way. We need to think about how we can propose value to a potential customer. Now, we don't really know exactly what value we can be. That's part of selling, is to work together to understand it. But we need to indicate that we've got something of an idea and that they're going to be able to invest their time well talking to us to start to develop that thinking. And there's so much written about value propositions, which I think overcomplicates stuff. We can strip it right back, and that's what I want to do here, strip it right back to two main things. There's two things our value proposition needs to talk about. What and why. Now, this isn't why from a Simon Sinek point of view, start at why. If you've come across that, you'll know what I mean. If not, have a look at that. Simon Sinek, Start at Why. It's incredible. I think it's the highest ranking TEDx talk ever. It's quite famous. This is slightly different here. When we're putting together our value proposition, we need to talk about what it is that we do. So good salespeople understand the concept of FAB, selling, features, advantages, and benefits are what make up products. Too many salespeople talk too much about features. We need to be thinking about the benefits, why people care. So that's what we do from the point of view of the customer. Remember, if you're selling a product, it's also not just the product we need to be considering when we're explaining what we do, but all the stuff that's surrounding it. Think of it with the core product, the stuff at the center being the thing that you think you sell, but actually there's way more to it that we want to potentially also explain, because it could be that makes a real difference. I work quite a lot with people who sell trucks, and they hate me when I say, but all trucks are the same. They're just boxes on wheels which move stuff about. They get really angry and they start telling me, well, we've got these things and these things and these things and these things. I say, yeah, but they're the competition. Well, yes. Slightly different, but very similar. But the point I'm doing when I'm saying that is, but what other things are buying trucks for? Well, we've got better finance agreements. Okay. Well, we've got better ways to be able to repair them. We'll give you less downtime. Okay. We've got more of a network, so we're always going to be very close for you to be able to go in and get service done. Okay. These are things which sit in the extended product. So use marketing terms. This is the core product, and this is the extended product, which make up the whole offer. So we need to think from that point of view. I sometimes think it looks a little bit like a fried egg. So I talked about sell the whole of the egg, not just the yolk, all the stuff in the outside as well. That is what you sell. Be aware of that, because it could be some of this stuff, when things are broadly the same, that really makes a difference. That's what we sell. It is amazing how many salespeople I see only talk about that. And this is where they're making a mistake. By only talking about yourself, by being self-centered, by doing things which probably only you care about, it's very hard to connect with the customer. We need to really understand and explore, why do they care? What are they getting out of this? And the more of this we put into the way that we deliver the value proposition, the better. There are certain magic words that if you try to use these, it's more than likely to make your value prop better. Words like increase, reduce, gain, save, protect, improve, maximize, minimize. They're powerful words that when we can thread them in and understand that from a customer's point of view, this is what they're trying to achieve, this will make a real difference for them. And it will make your value proposition so much better as a result. So I might say things like a sales training consultancy, we deliver package training in the form of an accelerator. What this helps does is maximize the amount of learning that your people are going to get. It's going to improve the return on investment of the time that they take, and it's going to increase your sales. That'd be a very simple version of a value prop. That's what somebody wanted to talk to me about. Well, return on investment, they want to increase their sales. Yeah? They might want to reduce churn, they might want to reduce customers that are leaving them. Okay, well, if that's what's important to them, our training can help with that. So think about how we can wrap these words in. I'll go through those again because they're so key. They're verbs. Increase, reduce, gain. Can we save? Can we protect something? Can we improve? Who does want to improve things? Can we maximize? Can we minimize? Think about things and how we can have an impact on the customer, the outcomes that they might be looking for. That will start to be the key to the value that they're looking for. So that's a very, very basic form of how to put together a value prop. We can start to add other elements to it. We can start to build it. Depends how long we're going to have to deliver this, how we're going to deliver it. It could be on a phone call. It could be very quick. We've got to get this across. It might be in a presentation where we have more time to expand on things. It might be something where it's all about explaining value prop. We've got a lot longer. We can start to introduce other elements. One of the elements that works really well when we bring it into the value prop is proof. Showing people where we've done that before. As human beings, we love social proofing. You know, if you can see that you've done this stuff for somebody else, great. So the way in which we would build proof, we might add in a case study. Yeah, we've worked with this company before. They had these issues. What we did is we introduced this as a solution, and this is what they got as a consequence of working with us. So that's a case study. We can wrap the case study up in the form of a story. Storytelling in sales is really hot at the moment. Thinking about how can you bring anecdotes, how can you bring stories, how can you tell things that you've done in a way that somebody can relate to. That's why stories work so well. They're relatable. People can put themselves in the shoes of the person that you're talking about. And that is the best way to tell a story. Tell it with the customer or the person you're speaking to in mind so that they can put themselves at the center of it. Stories work because they start to fire up emotion. People think sales is about logic. It's not. It's about emotion. We need to get people emotionally invested into the stuff that we're doing. Stories are the best way to do this because they can relate. Think with heart as much as head. So putting elements of proof into the value prop works really nicely to bring it to life. The other element that we can bring in is you. Sell yourself. Talk about how you have done some of these things. Maybe as part and parcel of showing the proof, talk about your experience in doing this. Why you're different, what you're bringing to the party. Certainly, I've worked with a number of salespeople where they'll say, when they're talking about the whole product, the whole offer, I am your account manager. I am the one who's responsible for understanding you. I want to work with you to make sure that you get the best of all of the resources that we've got. I'll be dedicated to you so that I can understand exactly what you're trying to achieve and make sure that we do all the things we possibly can to help you get that. So bringing yourself into the value proposition, make it part and parcel of it. It could be just as important as the product, the service, and all the other things that you're selling. Bring yourself into it. Salespeople can bring a huge amount of value to the process. Going back to the truck world, when I finished upsetting them by saying all their trucks are the same, what I do afterwards is say, but guys, you are so important to this because they are. It's you that can really differentiate the buying experience, the process that people are going through, that's going to make it super attractive that the customer is going to come to want to buy your truck. Yeah, there are some clever things that it'll do, and maybe there are some functions and features that are important. But if you're making life easy for them, if you're understanding them, their business and their world, that is a huge differentiator. If you've got a lot of experience in this and you can show that you are part of it, that could be the bit that sets you apart. You are important. Don't underestimate yourself. So normally they're a bit more forgiving at that stage. It's all good fun training these guys. So yeah, that's what for me the value prop looks like. Basic level. We can go into lots and lots of other complicated versions. I don't want to do that. I don't think it's right to do that in this particular live stream. I just wanted to give you these two structures, these two basic ways of thinking about it. First one, yourself, using the format name, same, fame, game, aim, and how you can put these components together to really introduce yourself so you stand out. And then talking about, if you are in a sales role, what it is you sell, but why people care. If you're thinking about the balance, this is always where the balance lies. Why do they care? It's unlikely they will care about some of the elements of you, your business and that, but it's really to do with what that means for them, the value they can take. Think about these powerful words: increase, reduce, gain, save, protect, improve, maximize, minimize. Verbs, doing words, my old English teacher used to say. Add in proof, sprinkle in some story, and make sure you're including yourself as part of the package, as the person that's going to be there and care and be able to make that difference for your customer. That's how I would start to put together a value proposition. I don't want to complicate it anymore. As always, look, I am available to talk to people if they want to understand a little bit more, if they've got examples they want to show. Send them, I'll have a look, coach it. It's part and parcel of the deal, if you're part of the academy. So that is really where I wanted to get to. I wanted to keep it, again, pretty short, pretty sharp, on point, give you something to go away and do. Because, back to what I said before, implementation is better than information. I told you how to do it, I've given you a couple of little examples. If you want to take advantage and benefit from this, now go and put together a personal value proposition and a value proposition for something that you're selling. Do it. Do it now. Stop the video. Do it now. Because that is how you will really start to learn. So that's what I wanted to get to. Apart from just saying that, yeah, I mentioned the App Pace Academy. That is something that you can join. So all of these live streams, this is one of the free ones out at the moment. Ultimately, they're going to go into the Academy along with a whole bunch of other material. So the material that we're covering is, there's a bunch of videos that you can watch on demand about what selling is, why it's important, how it applies to all people and some of the techniques that are ubiquitous. Everyone needs these. How you can use sales techniques in business. And then if you are looking at a career in sales, how you can take some of this stuff. So it's very deliberately designed like that. I think all the videos are relevant to everybody, but certainly the first parts of them are there. That's what it's there for. There'll be more live streams. There'll be an opportunity to interact with us. So yeah, that's what it's doing. A few little bonuses I'm thinking about putting in there as well, but Ravi doesn't know that yet. Don't tell him. That's what I wanted to get to. So unless there's any questions, I don't know if anything has come in, or if there are any that you would like me to address, Ravi, on the other end.
No, we don't have any questions today, Fred. So I think you can, that was a good discussion. I think it's, I really like the one that you did on the individuals, which is look at the framework that you did. Yeah, go back one, which is, let's talk about, yep, that's the one where we did name, same, fame, game, and aim. I think a lot of us tend to waffle around a fair bit, but I think this is really helpful, that structure. So thank you for that. Yeah,
no, just something to add to that actually. When I've coached people who are in a similar position to the audience doing this, so my aim is a professional aim, yeah. They might not necessarily have a professional aim. It doesn't matter. Certainly as an employer or somebody who might be talking to a young professional, people who are quite purpose-driven, people who understand or have a kind of self-awareness of what it is they want to achieve with their life. If they wrap that into the aim, that's incredibly compelling. It might be completely irrelevant to actually the thing that we're talking about, But because I'm buying into the individual, it makes a massive difference. So don't overthink it and like, oh, it's got to be completely in line with what I'm talking about with a potential employer or in the job I'm in. No, this is your bigger purpose type thing. I wrap mine up into my profession because I'm fortunate that I've managed to manufacture that to be one and the same, you know. But you know, if people have got things that they're really trying to make an impact on, talk about that. It will sound impressive.
I think that's a great point, which is it doesn't need to be always only about the profession. It could be something broader, some things that you really care about, things that you're trying to do for social impact. For example, one of the guys said this morning when I was on a call with him that my job is to sell, but I really like to run. So
Yes.
I have done 5 Ironmans, and that's what I want to do. So that's my aim, is I want to get through all of them. But I sell for a living. So I thought that was very interesting to make the point that you were trying to make earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. So don't get too wrapped up. It's got to be so totally aligned. It's, oh, that's what I'm here to do. Yeah, I might be doing this job or this thing at the moment, but really, I know my place is to try to achieve this. If I can have an impact on that, well, that comes across as certainly, as I say, is sort of talk to younger people. When I hear people like that, I think, yeah, you're the kind of person I want on my team.
Yeah,
Because if you're that driven for that, that's great. I want to hang around with people like you.
absolutely. So thank you, Fred, for today. I think it was very interesting. We'll put this up again on YouTube in case people miss it. So we will blast it out. So let's see how that goes. And thank you for bringing us through the value proposition piece today.
No, my pleasure. The simple version of.
Indeed.